What if the biggest stories from ancient times, the ones about towering figures and mighty battles, were not just bedtime tales? What if they were echoes of a forgotten reality? Across history, many cultures speak of mighty beings, and the Bible itself describes giants, figures like the Nephilim and Rephaim, as real people who lived long ago. These accounts portray them as huge warriors, possessing great strength and power, often inspiring fear in those who encountered them. For years, many have wondered if there is any real proof of these giants outside of ancient writings. Can the ground beneath our feet truly reveal secrets of these mighty beings, or are they just myths? Join us as we dig into the Earth's hidden layers, exploring ancient sites and astonishing discoveries. What if the very tools and armor found in the dirt tell a story of people so big they could only be called giants? The year was 1962, and a quiet farming field near Kfar Manash in Israel held a secret beneath its soil. A local farmer, busy expanding his land, accidentally uncovered a hidden treasure, a collection of ancient metal objects buried deep in the ground. This location, Kfar Manash, sits peacefully near the Mediterranean Sea, with a fertile area known as the Plain of Sharon. What the farmer unearthed that day would spark a debate that continues to this very day, challenging how we understand the ancient world. Among the many items in this discovery, known as the Kfar Manash Hoard, 4 massive copper spearheads immediately captured attention. These were not just large, they were truly enormous. The most impressive among them measured an astonishing 66 centimeters long, which is about 26 inches. To truly grasp the scale of this weapon, consider that typical spearheads from the same period are usually only about 6 to 8 inches in length. This particular spearhead was the largest ever found in the land of the Bible, making it an extraordinary artifact. The sheer size of this weapon naturally leads one to consider the warrior who might have wielded it. For an average human warrior, such a colossal spear would be incredibly difficult to manage in battle, perhaps even more of a hindrance than an aid. This suggests that if these were indeed practical weapons, they might have been designed for individuals of extraordinary stature. Interestingly, despite their unusual size, these spearheads showed clear signs of having been used in actual combat. The largest one in particular was found bent in one spot and worn along its edges, indicating it had seen action, not just display. However, when archaeologists first studied these finds, the immense size of these weapons presented a puzzle. While acknowledging the signs of use, some scholars found it difficult to imagine a regular-sized person effectively carrying or fighting with such heavy and cumbersome spears. Therefore, they proposed an alternative idea. Perhaps these massive spearheads were not for battle at all, but were decorative, used for ceremonies or as symbols of status. This perspective highlights how prior beliefs about what is possible can influence how physical evidence is understood. If one starts with the belief that giants are mythical beings, then finding giant weapons necessitates an explanation that aligns with that belief, even if it means suggesting a ceremonial purpose despite evidence of where. Yet, a powerful parallel exists within ancient texts that offers a different way to look at these finds. The Bible, in 2 Samuel, introduces a warrior named Ishbi-Benob, described as a descendant of giants. The text provides a remarkable detail about his weapon. His spear weighed 300 shekels of bronze, which translates to about 7 pounds for the entire spear. Now consider the largest Kfar Manash spearhead again. Its metal head alone weighed 5 pounds. Imagine adding a huge wooden shaft to that. Such a complete spear would easily be much heavier and taller than a man, perhaps even surpassing the weight described for Ishbi-Benob's spear. This direct comparison between the archaeological artifact and the biblical description of a giant's weapon provides a striking alignment, suggesting that the biblical accounts of such colossal armaments were not mere exaggerations, but potentially rooted in a historical reality where individuals of immense size existed. The Kfar Manash hoard held more than just giant spearheads. It also contained another intriguing mystery: about 800 small, thin, rippled copper plates. The archaeologists who first examined these plates theorized that they were individual scales from ancient body armor. While this was an interesting suggestion on its own, what truly elevated this discovery was a remarkable connection to another site. It was found that the only other place where identical copper armor scales had been unearthed was at Tel Gath. The significance of Tel Gath cannot be overstated. It was the legendary hometown of Goliath, the most famous giant in the Bible, known for his epic confrontation with David. The discovery of such unique armor components in 2 locations, with one being directly linked to a prominent biblical giant, is more than just a coincidence. It suggests a shared military technology or cultural practice, and given Goliath's description, it strongly points towards a connection to individuals of extraordinary size. The Bible provides a vivid description of Goliath's formidable protection in 1 Samuel chapter 17. It states that his coat of mail weighed 5,000 shekels of bronze, which is an astonishing 125 pounds. Imagine a coat of armor made from those very copper scales found at Manash and Gath. Such a heavy, scale-covered armor would be perfectly suited for a giant like Goliath, providing a tangible link between the archaeological find and the ancient text. Just as with the spearheads, the quantity of the armor scales also led to different perspectives among scholars. The initial archaeological reports suggested that 800 scales were too many for a single coat of armor, leading to the idea that the hoard must have contained parts of several different armor sets. However, if one considers the possibility of historical giants, then 800 scales could indeed be perfectly appropriate for the armor of a single massive individual. A giant would require more material to cover their larger frame and provide adequate protection, turning to what's saw as an obstacle to the giant theory into further supporting evidence when viewed through a different lens. Our journey now takes us to a different yet equally mysterious archaeological site located in the Golan Heights. Rujum el-Hiri. The incredible monument presents itself as a massive, wheel-like design, constructed from an estimated 40,000 tons of black basalt rocks, carefully piled into a series of concentric rings. Its sheer size is so immense that its full pattern, resembling a giant bullseye, could only be properly understood and appreciated when viewed from the air. The scale of Rujum el-Hiri is truly monumental. The largest outermost ring stretches over 500 feet wide, and some of the stone walls stand up to 8 feet high and are consistently 10 feet thick. It holds the distinction of being the largest ancient megalithic monument in the Near East. The construction of such a colossal structure would have required an immense undertaking, estimated to have taken over 25,000 working days to complete. The sheer effort and resources required to build this monument naturally led people to associate it with beings of extraordinary size or strength, a sentiment reflected in its very name. The Hebrew name for this site is Gilgal Rephaim, which directly translates to Wheel of Giants. This ancient designation is not a modern interpretation, but a historical name given to the site by people who lived a long time ago. While the exact purpose of Rujum el-Hiri remains a subject of debate among archaeologists, theories suggest it may have served as an ancient astronomical observatory, aligning with the sun on solstices, or as a significant place of ritual. Regardless of its precise function, its name directly links it to the Rephaim, one of the biblical groups of giants who were known to have lived in the land of Canaan, particularly east of the Jordan River, which is precisely where this site is located. Further solidifying this connection is the biblical figure of King Og. He was the giant king of Bashan, a region that encompasses the very area where Rujum el-Hiri stands. King Og ruled over an impressive kingdom of 60 walled cities and is described as one of the last remaining Rephaim. The Bible even provides a remarkable detail about his immense size by mentioning his iron bed, which measured an astounding 13.5 feet long and 6 feet wide. The convergence of a monumental ancient structure, its ancient name directly referencing giants, and biblical accounts of a giant king ruling in that exact region creates a powerful, multi-layered piece of evidence for the historical presence of giants. This consistency across archaeological finds, traditional naming, and ancient texts paints a compelling picture. The massive spearhead from Kfar Manash was not an isolated anomaly. Another equally huge spearhead, measuring 60 centimeters long, was discovered at Megiddo, another strategically important ancient city in Israel. The discovery of multiple oversized spearheads in different significant locations suggests a pattern rather than just a unique find. If a single giant spearhead could be dismissed as ceremonial, the presence of several such weapons across the ancient landscape makes the argument for their practical use by exceptionally large individuals much stronger. This points to a consistent trend of producing and potentially using exceptionally large weapons in ancient Canaan, which aligns with the biblical descriptions of giants and their armaments. It is also important to remember that the Bible does not just mention Goliath and Og as singular giants. It describes several groups of giants, including the Anakim, the Emim, and the Zamzumim, all consistently portrayed as tall, powerful people. The fear they inspired is vividly captured in the biblical narrative when Israelite scouts encountered the Anakim. They reported feeling like mere grasshoppers in comparison, illustrating the immense size and formidable presence attributed to these groups. These finds provide tangible, physical evidence that resonates with the ancient stories. While the debate among scholars continues and different perspectives lead to varied conclusions about these artifacts, they undeniably add a thrilling new layer to our understanding of the ancient world and the incredible stories passed down through generations. If this deep dive into ancient mysteries sparked your curiosity, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Exciting Archaeology News for more incredible journeys into the past, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Leave a comment below and tell us what other ancient mysteries you would like us to explore.